Hi guys, welcome back. We are here in Mexico City, Mexico, and we're going to take advantage of our last full day here to film a little Q&A for you guys concerning everything about backpacking through Mexico.
Yeah, we've been here for the last almost 6 weeks. So we landed in Cancun and we made our way down to Guatemala, back up, and then all the way to Mexico City. So last week on Instagram, we asked you guys if you had any questions on backpacking through Mexico, and we had quite a few questions. We've also gotten our fair share of questions on our Instagram posts since we've been here. So we thought this was the perfect time to answer all of those. So we had the questions written down in a little note on our phone, and let's start.
So, question number one is, how did we get between different cities in Mexico? So, since we had quite a bit of time, we had 6 weeks in Mexico, we decided that it was more budget friendly not to fly. Obviously, if you guys are more short on time, domestic flights can be really useful, especially if you're flying with just a carry-on. We're not, we have 2 massive backpacks, so it gets quite pricey with...
Between both of us, and like if you reserve the flights in advance, it could also get cheaper.
Yeah, but
we didn't have our plan.
Definitely if you're a bit short on time and you are also just traveling with a carry-on, definitely check out domestic flights in Mexico, because a lot of time they are super cheap. But we did not, we took the bus for the whole trip, and buses in Mexico are actually really, really good. We've traveled through Asia pretty much all of this year and last year, and we had gotten a phobia of buses because they were pretty bad most of the time.
Buses in Asia tend to suck.
But in Mexico, everything was just A1.
It went smooth.
And the number one
that
company
being said,
here,
it's because we always booked with the same company.
Yes.
So we can't recommend any other companies.
True. We always book through ADO, so the ADO website is really well set up. Just make sure you guys, there's 3 variables that you always want to be checking. Obviously the time of the trip, because that will vary depending what bus you decide to select. It could be, for the same trip, you could have trips that are 7 hours, and you could have trips that are 10 hours to go exactly to the same place. So make sure you check that out, because a lot of routes will be different and buses will not go through the same city to make it to the same destination.
We tend to not tell you which cities they're stopping in.
Yeah.
So we had a bad experience where we didn't know that the bus was going to make like 5 stops during the night.
And a huge detour. So the trip that we thought was going to take 7 hours took 12. So time, cost, and the comfort. So you have a bunch of different classes in Mexico you can take. We definitely recommend ADO. Their buses are what's called first class, and they have TVs, the reclining seats that recline a fair bit, not 180 degrees, but almost. And just really super comfortable. The buses are in great condition. The drivers were always really great.
We never felt unsafe. That's one thing. Like, comfort, even though you're taking first class buses, don't expect to be like first class on a plane. Yeah. It's not comfortable. If you're doing a 12-hour night bus,
of course, it's
not going to be comfortable. But we never felt unsafe, which is a big thing for us.
And their roads are quite good here in Mexico, so their infrastructure is quite nice. Maybe just in some more remote regions that we did happen to visit, there were stretches of roads that were potholed the whole way. But in general, 98% of the time, the roads are really awesome. The buses can go 100 kilometers an hour. Oh, yes. Last thing to mention about taking buses in Mexico is make sure, if you guys book online, to book at least 48 hours in advance, because there are always trips, if you're booking at least 48 hours in advance, there's always trips that are 40 to 50% off. So if you're pretty flexible on the time you guys want to leave during the day, you could have the same trip be 600 pesos, and then 2 hours later have the same bus leave and cost 300 pesos. So make sure you do check that in advance, because we've made that mistake before where we've waited too late and couldn't find any more discounts on the site. So it seems to be about that 48-hour window where all the buses cost the same thing. Yeah, so make sure you always book your tickets in advance. If you can, you'll save quite a bit of money this way.
Yeah.
Next question.
So the second question is, do you need a language book if you don't know any Spanish? So, yes. The short answer is yes. Compared to traveling elsewhere, we found that in Mexico, people tend to not speak very good English or not speak English at all, which can make your life quite hard when you're used to traveling in Asia, where like everyone or almost everyone knows at least a few words of English, so you're able to get around, you're able to understand what basic foods are or the cost of something. It can be very difficult. That being said, my Spanish is not that bad because we both had Spanish in high school, and I lived in Ecuador for 3 months 5 years ago. So my Spanish was quite good at the end of that 3 months. So I've lost quite a bit of it, but coming back to Mexico, it came back. And also, we got this little book called Spanish for Dummies While Traveling.
Yeah.
And I would really recommend getting one of these, or at least an app on your phone that translates, like a dictionary app, or just like go on YouTube, study basic Spanish, numbers, like location, so like how to ask where something is, or always have your address, the address of where you're going, like screenshot it on your phone or something, and that's going to help you a lot. And when in doubt, just ask around. You'll end up finding someone that speaks Spanish, but like don't expect the taxi driver or the lady at the restaurant to speak Spanish.
Like, it still happens after we've been here almost 6 weeks, and let's say yesterday we took an Uber and we tried to tell him to wait for us, but we didn't have enough vocabulary to be able to actually get him to understand what we need. So it was quite a process for him to actually understand what we wanted, and this was after 6 weeks of being in Mexico and having an okay base still in Spanish. So yeah, definitely highly recommend. I got that book maybe after 1 or 2 weeks of being here, just because I realized that it was quite necessary. Number 3, best ruins to see in Mexico if you're short on time. This is going to depend on obviously where you're traveling. So if you're short on time, you're not going to be able to see the whole country. We were here for 6 weeks and we haven't been able to see even half of everything that there is to see. So if you guys are in the Yucatan or around Cancun, Tulum, that's a very, very popular spot. If you're in that region, definitely go and check out the Tulum ruins. Only take like a half a day to go see because they're right in Tulum. We didn't even go, but we heard really good things about them.
Because we knew we were going to other ruins.
Exactly.
But if you're really short on time and don't have a full day to...
Yeah, and you're in Cancun, Riviera Maya, that area, Tulum ruins are very close and beautiful. They're right on the beach. Yeah. So recommend those. Even though we didn't go, we heard really good things. For us, our favorite ruins were in Palenque. Where is it exactly? I'll put up a map and show you guys where it is. Yeah. The ruins here were unbelievable. They were a lot less touristy than a lot of other ones that we did. And for us, they were just the most impressive and the most beautiful scenery. They're right in the jungle. Got a lot of nice photos there.
But that being said, you do need at least like 2 days to go there because you have to sleep in Palenque and then go to the ruins during the day, sleep another night, and then get out the next day. So, like, if you're short on time, that's probably not the best option.
But for us,
ruins are fine. Also, if you're gonna go to Valladolid, I do think Chichen Itza is worth it, even though it's full of people.
So
there's so many people there. It's one of the new wonders of the world. But it's popular for a reason. As any other really popular destination, it's popular for a reason. And if you're in Valladolid, it's a super short. It's like a half an hour bus or something. Yeah. So you can do that in a morning. Get there for opening. Just spend like an hour there, and then you can leave and go see some cenotes in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Fourth question: is it safe to travel Mexico as a woman on your own? So I'm not traveling as a woman on my own. But as a woman, I do think it's safe to travel in Mexico if you're careful, like in any other place you would travel to. Mm-hmm. So, as a general rule, I never go out at night by myself. That being said, I never felt unsafe once. And I do think that what people have told me along the way is that when you're traveling alone, you're never really alone. So if you're staying in hostels or guest houses, you'll always meet other women that want to meet up with you, that want to go for lunch or for dinner or whatever, and want to go out, want to go do activities. So I don't think you're going to be spending that much time on your own anyways. But even if you are during the day, I don't think there's any problem. Okay. And don't like go out with a lot of money. Don't flash your big camera around or your new iPhone, and just common sense, but like anywhere else that you would be traveling in. Mm-hmm. And also I'd say do maybe choose your accommodation wisely. So don't choose accommodation that's super far from the main touristy area so that you don't have to walk a long distance to get to where you're going, or like make sure that there are restaurants around and there's always going to be people around you. Those are just like common things that we do anyways, no matter where we're traveling.
And to tie into that, I believe the next question was, have we personally ever felt unsafe during this trip? And I would say, well, no. I think we said it, but no, I never felt unsafe. Obviously, I didn't go and take the metro in Mexico City at 2 a.m. and was never lost. So in general,
speaking a little bit of Spanish really does help with that, because you feel like even if people are talking around you, you'll kind of be able to understand a little bit of what they're saying, and you can ask for directions, you can ask for help if you need. People in Mexico have been so friendly to us, so I know that if I'd been in a situation where I felt uncomfortable, there would always be someone around to be able to help me. I would say though, like, theft is a thing that happens. So we never felt unsafe, and never happened to us, but do be careful when you're on transport, like on buses or night buses or things. Always keep your belongings really close to you. If you have a fanny pack or a thing that goes under your shirt, your money, your passport, all those like really important things that you don't want to lose, do keep them with you, because it happens. Like, it happens like anywhere else.
Thankfully, nothing's ever happened to us, and in Mexico, we haven't had a single problem over 6 weeks. So guys, use common sense as always, and I think you should be fine. Okay, next question. What were the best cenotes that we visited during our time in Mexico? So cenotes, for those that don't know, are a natural geological phenomenon that happened in the Yucatan Peninsula. There are over 6,000 of these like natural pools underneath the ground, which you can go to swim in, to explore, and they're really beautiful. We did 4 or 5 of them, I believe, while we were here. And I noted down 3 of them for different reasons. So the Gran Cenote in Tulum is one of the more popular ones in the whole of Mexico. It is for a reason though, because it's really beautiful. The water was the most blue and the most clear that we've seen in any of the cenotes that we visited. And the site is super well maintained. We actually filmed a whole vlog about this that we'll put up here somewhere, about the Gran Cenote when we went. So the Gran Cenote, definitely for photos, best one by far. Also, for the less touristy one, I would recommend Cenote Oaxaca. That is near Valladolid.
There's way less people, but it's so beautiful.
Just way less people in general, and it's beautiful. They have a rope swing, and you can swing in this beautiful cenote. And yeah, we absolutely loved it.
It's a really fun place.
If you go late in the afternoon, guys, there'll be almost nobody there. The most impressive was Cenote Suitun. In Valladolid as well. This is on the other side of town.
We'll put up a photo of it here.
Yeah, we'll put up a photo and some videos if we have any. This was just a massive pit underground, and there is a ray of light that shines onto this big stone platform in the middle. And if you come at the right time of day, I'm guessing around 12 o'clock,
when the sun is high enough in the sky, the ray of light shines exactly at the right place.
Yeah, when we were there, we chose to go in the late afternoon, so there'd be less people, so the light wasn't shining directly through the hole, but we still managed to get some really awesome photos there, and just overall, super. It was the biggest one I think we saw as well.
It was massive, and it was so impressive.
So yeah, definitely those 3: Gran Cenote, Oaxaca, and Suitun. If you're in the Yucatan, definitely go see those 3. Yeah. Those would be my recommendation.
So the next question is, what are your must-sees in Oaxaca? So we didn't spend a lot of time in Oaxaca, but one thing that we did that we absolutely loved was visiting the petrified waterfall called Hierve el Agua. So it's not actually a waterfall, it's just a natural source of water, bubbling water they call it. And because of the minerals in the water that like drip down the cliff, it looks like a petrified waterfall. It's like hard to explain. You kind of have to.
We filmed the whole vlog on this, but I haven't had time to edit it yet.
So maybe that vlog will be coming up. If so, we'll link it. So you kind of just have to see it for yourself. It's a really beautiful place. So it's like a half-day trip, or if you're doing it yourself, a full-day trip for us from Oaxaca. Really worth the visit. And in Oaxaca, we also really love the markets. So there are tons of markets, but our favorite one was La Merced Market. Where we went to eat quite a few times because it was really close to where we were staying. And we just loved it. It's like a small local market, and it's so well organized. It's like not chaotic. People are friendly. Food was delicious.
And Oaxaca is known for its food and its local produce, which is amazing. And so like you can find chilies, you can find amazing mole, which is the specialty there. Their cheese is really famous
the Oaxacan
as well.
Cheese. Oh, so good.
So a lot of great stuff to try while you're in Oaxaca, and the best place to try it is definitely at the markets. So
the last question is, how do we get around once we arrive in a city? So in the cities, we usually walk to most places. In bigger cities, they do have Uber.
Yep.
So we took Uber in Merida, in Mexico City, and in Puebla.
Yeah, so the 3 biggest cities we went to, all over 1 million people. That seems to be like the cutoff point for where Uber likes to go. So
in those cities, Uber is really, really practical. It's super cheap. It's super convenient, and it also feels a lot safer often than just like taking a taxi on the side of the road. And we've also heard a lot of people say that by taking taxis, they got ripped off with the price. Mm-hmm. However, in other cities, we never found that we were getting ripped off with the price. That's one thing that surprised us quite a bit in Mexico.
When we were traveling Asia, you always had the impression that the taxi driver would always try to rip you off. That's just in their culture. If they see tourists,
they'll just charge you 3 times the price. they'll always quote you 3 times higher than you should be paying.
And you just have to know to negotiate. Yeah. Whereas in Mexico, if you try to negotiate, they're not going to budge because
their price is already fair.
Yeah, they gave you the right price. So taxis are the way to go in smaller towns where there is no Uber. In bigger cities, definitely Uber is the way to go. It's
also public transit. So they have quite a good bus and colectivo system going on in most of Mexico. Yeah. Or in most of the cities that we went to. Taking the bus is so cheap. It's just a little bit hard to figure out. But once you spend a bit of time in the same city, you'll be able to figure out the bus routes, or just ask your guest house or your Airbnb or hotel, and they'll be able to help you with that. But taking the bus often costs like 5 pesos to do like a half an hour journey. So that's like 30 Canadian cents.
Yeah, it costs nothing. And don't be afraid to ask the bus drivers as well. If you know where you're going or you have the location on your phone, just get in the bus, say...
I'm going to this place. Like, are you going to pass by that place? And and ask them to tell you when to get off, and they'll be able to help you with that.
Another thing you can learn in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely recommend.
And then the last way that we usually get around is just by walking. We walked a lot in Mexico, a lot more than when we were in Asia, because we'd usually always just hop on the scooter. Yeah. So I think that sums up all the questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments.
And I think we will see you in Peru next. So we're going to be in Peru for 3 weeks. I'm going to try to vlog a lot while we're there. I'm going to be traveling with a friend as well, which will be really cool. And unfortunately, we won't have a drone, which is a bummer. But we still have our cameras, so hopefully we'll be able to capture some really nice images for you guys.
Yep.
Do a lot of informative videos. And so see you in Lima. If you liked the video,
don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
All that good stuff.
And we'll see you in Peru.
Bye.